Hey there guys, DMO73 here with my buddy Steve Rose and getting a deck interview for you for the green, white, black, moon, Kaguya control stuff with Gwibers thrown in. So we're just going to go ahead and get right to it. So who is your ruler?
New Kaguya 3.0, new ruler. She's just super strong right now, honestly, because of the whole support for her. Has Moon equals green, so it gives you immediate access to like all the great new counter spells like Wall Wind, Seal, and then you can ramp with all this great new stuff. And additionally, you get to draw every time you play a Moon, so it's like card advantage in itself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then when you flip her, she has probably more abilities, I think, than any other ruler. Probably, not Reflect, because Reflect is her own thing, but she has a million abilities, so she gets to retain her Moon equals green, which I guess I forgot to mention on the other side. And also, whenever you awaken something, she pumps herself up 2/2.
Okay.
So if you leave her on the field, she just gets really strong after a while, and then the opponent cannot deal with her.
Absolutely.
Also, one of the strongest abilities she has is pay 1 Moon, cancel any automatic ability, and as it turns out, like, there are a million automatic abilities. A lot of people were pumped for like Lunar Ibis, cancel active abilities. I feel like there's just way more automatic abilities.
Absolutely.
Honestly.
Yeah, it's really strong.
She has her own built-in protection too, of just like White Void, negate the next damage that she would take, which is not quite as good as Imperishable sometimes, but sometimes it is better. And if you have a lot of will, which you will with when you're running Kaguya, you can make her indestructible.
That's awesome.
Final thing, she has a God Art, which is kind of becoming more like less common. And hers is to pay 4 total, tap all opponents' Resonators, and J Resonators also, I believe, and then recover all of your own stones, so it's a huge tempo swing, and then you additionally get to cast all your Awakening abilities, which you're going to have an Awakening deck with Kaguya for 1 less that turn.
That's awesome.
Really good God Art.
Yeah, really good stuff. So why don't you talk us through Stone lineup?
So Stone lineup, it's a black-white Moon deck, because Moon equals green, and so I run 3 of the Black Moon Memoria.
Okay.
Gives us access to a few powerful black Awakening cards, and just having Moon equal green is great, and Moon is used a ton for all our Awakening abilities.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have 3 Moonbreeze Memorias. Normally you would always run 4 of these, but for the life of me, I cannot find a 4th one. Please, if you own one of these, mail it to me. I need it. And for the remainder is just plain whites in Alice block only.
I like the 4 different light stones.
Yeah, I like to have some class. In Alice block only, there's no dual stones, so you can't do like Moon Any or Moon copies. So if the deck is mostly light, it's really just like your best stone.
Right.
I tried running more of the Black Moons, and it really sucks to hit too many of them. So I think for having just 3 is a good number.
Okay, cool. So why don't we go Resonators?
So Resonators, do the 4 Moonbreeze Elves. It's obviously like core in any Kaguya deck, just you can play it with the Moon equals green. It produces Moon, which is also used as green. Also can't be attacked. It's really just...
It's a really good utility card, right? It's a strong turn 1.
Even better than Elvish Priest, pretty much, but for Kaguya.
I mean, it's the same stats, it does the same thing, and it can't be attacked, so yeah, it's awesome.
I'm running 1 Wind Sprite right now. I've tried messing around with this number of 1, 2, 3. It's hard to find a balance. Right now, 1, same idea of Moonbreeze Elf. You can use the extra will to pump up for your Awakening abilities, and then pump it for Kaguya. The ramp is just really strong if you play control decks.
Absolutely.
Next, for 1-drops, I actually play 4 Crescent Moon Magicians, which is probably more than normal. I honestly love this card, one of my favorite cards in the deck. You can pay it for 1 as a 2/6, and a lot of people are thrown off by that, but a 2/6 for 1 is actually incredible stats.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you awaken it, it deals 600, and is it fate that, Lancelot has 600 defense? I don't think so. This thing is kind of meant to kind of stave off against Lancelot, so unless they're pumping it, it's a pretty decent answer to Lancelot.
Absolutely, it's a strong answer.
So, pretty good. Also run 3 Lunar Ibises.
Gosh, this card.
This card is really, really, really versatile, actually. A lot of times you can awaken it for 1 extra, which is really cheap for an awakening card. It becomes a 5/5 flyer, and then you can recover one of a Resonator. So what that means is you can basically swing again with like a big card, or you can just recover one of your mana ramp cards to just produce like huge mana swing turns and just get a huge board out all at once.
Yeah.
It is a flyer in itself, also just a 1-cost card when you're bumping your awakening cards. You can awaken it to pump Kaguya easily. Super versatile card. For higher cost Resonators, running 4 Tsukiomi Nobles.
Yeah, Tsukiomi Noble.
Pretty much the other like super core card that you can't really mess with in Kaguya. While it's on the field, your opponent can't play any activated abilities, so this kind of creates a huge lock with Kaguya when you have them both out. Your opponent can't use activated abilities or automatic abilities you can negate. And additionally, she counts as a moon herself, which is kind of weird for a Resonator. So she triggers the draw for Kaguya. So immediate card advantage, really good stats for 5/7. You can block a Lancelot when she's awakened. She's out of being burned by Lancelot. She also has this utility of being able to awaken her for 1 to destroy additions, which is kind of not super common right now, but it could be with Necromancy being up, and people might be swapping their decks a lot. We go back to Alice block.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right now it's running 1 Cherudim in the main deck.
Okay.
It feels kind of like a counter card, but honestly it's just such a strong card by itself. It's 2 mana for 5/5 as a flyer, which is just solid on its own. And Awakening is super strong that you can automatically kill any black or fire, and guess what? Everyone runs fire Resonators. It is the meta right now. You're running Lancelots, you're running Prescias, Cherudim can kill them and get you a really nice swing. The other kind of package we have is Demon of the Black Moon Lilliths. This is kind of a personal favorite of mine, and I really wanted to make this card work, and it feels like it fits best at home in a Kaguya deck. So it's 2 black and then Awaken X, and the X is the awakening X equals the type or the cost of the creature that you want to destroy, and then if you pay a moon as the awakening, you gain life. So it's really powerful in the late game when you're probably going to be pressed for life against aggro, or it's hard removal for something that just your opponent will not get rid of. You can eat some little annoying card that you normally can't deal with, or even if you get a lot of will, which you will with this deck because there's so much ramp in it, that you can eat even a big thing like a Gwiber or...
Have you ever actually eaten a Gwiber with
I actually have.
Oh man,
someone, and
it's a big swing.
It was pretty weird when he's like, what are you tapping 7 for? And I'm just like...
Oh, here it is. Here it is, 1,200 point gain. Here it is. Good card.
Topping off, we got a couple more. We have the Knight of Solstice, which is sort of a value card. Before I had these, I was using the, I think it's called Lunar Wolf in the Moonlight, is that what it's called? And they kind of served a really similar purpose. It's when you don't really have your Tsukiomis, but you want to ramp into like board presence, that they sort of served a really similar process or purpose.
Right.
And I sort of found that I just like this one a lot better. It just gives you a lot of card advantage. You side them out pretty much versus aggro because it is a slow value card, really.
Right.
Because you're going to search Tsukiomi Noble most of the time, and then Tsukiomi Noble is going to draw you a card, and you're just going to keep up an advantage with this card.
Right.
Which kind of just gives your deck a lot more staying power. And finally, for the Resonators, we have 2 Gwibers.
Double Gwibes.
Yep.
You're playing 1-drops and stuff.
Playing lots of 1-drops. I was playing against a lot of Alice Worlds, was thinking, man, this card feels really broken. Someone said, hey, just you're running light, throw this in your deck, and it turns out it's really easy to get out all the time, and a good card.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool.
So,
sweet. Well, let's go through Regalia.
So Regalia, actually don't run very many. We only run Kaguya's, like, well, one's meant for Kaguya, the Interdimensional Vessel Apollo. So gives you a ruler flying, which is really unique for a, none of the other Regalia do that. Makes Kaguya like more untouchable when you want to swing for game. You just like have her pumped up, God Art, and then just swing it in the air for like a million. You can pay, you can also use this as its own mana ramp for Awakenings only, which is...
Well, and Judgment.
And all of Kaguya's Judgments and God Arts, so it's not uncommon. You can just like, you pull 2 of these in your opening hand, turn 2 Judgment if you want. So I've done it before when you just like are sitting on a really awkward hand, like counter spells and things. Super good utility. You can sack it to bounce your own Resonators, which is crazy good, really. You just deny like all these great effects, like need awakening cards in my deck. I also play a Dracula deck. That's just like a fun side thing. This thing is super annoying. It's basically like Levitine. When your opponent wants to like trigger some effect, you can just deny that, save your Resonators.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Okay, so spell lineup.
Spell lineup, running 3 Shining Strikes.
So good!
Yep. I think I run this card in some of my other decks that just have light in it because I love this card so much. Even better is Kaguya. So for 1, you can rest opponent Resonator, and if you're Kaguya, you can rest a J Resonator. Additionally, draws you a card afterwards. So it's just saves your bacon so many times. Your opponent will like puts a bunch of stuff out, or puts a bunch of buffs on like one Resonator. So you have one really problematic Resonator or J Resonator. Just tap them, keep them locked down for a while. It gives you time. So also you can cycle it if your hand just really sucks. So it has just so many pluses.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Gotta love cards that can't tread.
Right.
So good.
Next we have 2 Kaguya's Premonitions. Super good against if you're running anything red pretty much, because red kind of has a little bit of problems dealing with just like huge Resonators in general. If you can get like a bigger card than them. So Kaguya's Premonition, for 1 gives your creature 2/4, but you awaken it for 1, which you pretty much always will be, and instead blocks the next damage, and the damage that it blocks you get to keep as 1/1 counters.
Yeah.
Total, permanently.
Yeah.
So,
big creature is big.
opponent swings with a J Ruler, or just does some big burn spell, Premonition, and suddenly you'll have like 15/15 creature on the field. Or I think the best I've ever gotten, actually premonitioned the same creature and got to like a 22/25, like Tsukiomi Noble or something weird like that. So it's very threatening to people. A lot of if you play against this deck a lot, then you know that this is like one of the most swinging cards you can have. Next, I'm actually only playing 2 Wall of Winds. I know everyone's gonna cry foul, always run 4 Wall of Winds, but we run so many low-cost Resonators in the deck that it's really difficult actually to keep your like momentum going if all you're drawing is counter spells. So I only main deck 2. I do have 2 more, depending to change it out for the matchup, but as Moon equals green, it's super easy to run for Kaguya, and your opponent will see like one of these and play around it the entire game pretty much. So just having it in your deck is threat enough most of the time.
Right, absolutely.
Next for the counter spells, play 2 Seals. I was playing more of these. Some of the one-ofs that I'm playing, like the Cherudim and the Moon Sprite, used to be these. Really good card, but sometimes feels really slow when you're on the draw. Obviously super powerful. You can awaken it to make it unchaseable, which feels super great versus like Refrain, where they're normally just stopping all your spells.
Right.
So when your opponent just like goes all in, pays like 4 for just, or pays like 5 for just like a hard cast Celestial Seraph, you can just do this and just totally shut them out of the game. And it's super good for killing huge threats. Tech card I like a lot is actually Call of the Primo. It's like a really value card is what it is. It's really a late game card. Even though it costs 1, you will never ever keep this in your opening hand because you're going to be using it for the Awakening. So for the first part, you get to take any Resonator in your grave, add it back, which is honestly pretty great just for 1. You can get back anything that you really need. And for Moon Void, you can search your deck for a black Resonator, which we're only running Lillith.
Right, but still, searching for Lillith is awesome.
But in the late game, you're going to have enough mana to pay for the Lilliths.
Right.
And a lot of times you're just going to like get a Gwiber back, get a Tsukiomi back, whatever the situation needs. It's kind of like a toolbox card. It has to be your graveyard, but
I mean, you're playing a control deck, so it's probably there.
yeah. So really versatile.
Cool. And last 2.
Finally have 2 Holy Moon Fair Knights, playing all Awakening creatures for the most part, other than I think the Gwibers and Mana Ramps and the Knights. So you can make a huge beatdown with this card. If you just play like 3 1-cost Resonators, play this, suddenly your board is super threatening.
Right.
Versus a lot of troublesome J Rulers, like my game with my buddy, you can permanently lock down the ruler at the end. And then it's just game over for some decks that are a ruler.
Yeah, okay, awesome. Cool, and it draws you a card because it's a moon.
Yep.
So, awesome. Well, thanks a lot, bud. Let us know what you guys thought of the deck list, what you would change, what you do different. Like, comment, and subscribe as always. And until next time, this is DMO73 with Steve, signing off.